Recognition of the inherent dignity and of the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation for freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Is there any legal principle which is more important than that?
There likely isn't, but I still have a problem with Stephen Woodworth and his motion. Most of the media has a problem with Stephen Woodworth and his motion. It's actually the same problem, but for different reasons. They all are upset because he won't say this is about abortion, and they don't want anything talked about regarding abortion. I'm upset with him because he won't say it's about abortion, and I think that's a conversation worth having. See, we're both upset. We're all upset, but for different reasons. I want to bring Alyssa Golob into the conversation now. She's a youth coordinator with Campaign Life Coalition, and Alyssa, this is a true issue. We do need to recognize the inherent dignity and worth of every human being at every stage in life. I think that's part of the culture of life. But does it bother you that Stephen Woodworth seems to be trying to be cute with this and saying, oh, no, it's not about abortion. Let's just recognize life from the beginning stages?
Well, I think that there is merit and value in what he's saying because, because he did table a motion earlier with motion 312 and that it didn't go through, that is, why they cited that motion 408 didn't go through because the Parliament had already dealt with the abortion issue. So I think at this point in time with our current political climate, he has to be...
But we all know what it's about. It'd be like me holding up a blue sign and saying, well, it's not blue, let's talk about the mauve within it.
Well, to be fair, I think it goes into something deeper because he's saying that the law just arbitrarily has defined when the dignity, the human person, when a person becomes a person. And when does that stop and where does it stop? And you can apply this to the call for infanticide. Some people, like Peter Singer, want infanticide to be legalized. So,
in Belgium now, they're talking about euthanasia for children.
Exactly. So if you affirm the dignity and worth of every human being, it may sound like we already do that and that already happens. But because there's different calls for these, to de-dignify human persons, such as infanticide and such as the law that we already have when it comes to abortion, it does apply to abortion, of course, but it also extends and transcends that as well.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I just wish you'd maybe be more straightforward then and say it's about all of this and more, and just be firm. You don't have to become antagonistic when talking about this issue, but just stand firm. Now, of course, we know that in Canada there are no laws on abortion. We are unique among developed nations in that anytime from 0 weeks to 40 weeks, mother can go in for any reason and say she doesn't want to be a mother anymore and abort her child. UK, 24 weeks, Sweden, 18, socialist France, 12. But we can't talk about this. Here's what I want to throw at you, and is I've been making speeches to pro-life groups lately. I've been saying, ignore Parliament. Ignore Parliament because of what happened to Stephen Woodworth's last motion, motion 312. We've got to change the culture. I think that's a good part of what you and your organization do with your youth activities through Campaign Life. Mm-hmm. We've got to convince Canadians, one person at a time, that this is a choice worth making, that life is a choice worth making.
Absolutely, but laws are there to guide us and to guide society, so we can't completely abandon our political sphere no matter, what's happening right now with Motion 312 and with Motion 408. So I think it's important to have youth activism, to have educational groups, go out on the streets, talk to the everyday person, have our solid arguments to convince people and to change hearts and minds, of course, but also it's important to continue to lobby those politicians and let them know that this is an issue that isn't going away and that it's an issue that future taxpayers, parents, the future society members do care about and will not stand for the current status quo.
One of the areas that I know has been a focus lately is provincial governments. Instead of people like Stephen Woodworth and MPs at the federal level just saying, look, let's tackle the provinces. They're the ones that actually fund it, and they don't have to. Mm-hmm. They can decide what is and what isn't covered by healthcare. I know that you've been at several of the provincial rallies to defund abortion. Has that received any movement, especially in Ontario where you're active?
Well, when we did a press conference last year at Queen's Park, it definitely did. It actually was the catalyst that made Laura Broughton say that that to be pro-life goes against is almost homophobic to a certain degree in terms of of being pro-life.
And thankfully, she's not in government anymore.
Exactly.
In fact, she may not even be in the country anymore.
But
but is there any traction in that campaign in terms of getting a government, whether it's Ontario or somewhere else, to say, you know what, there's a lot of life-saving operations that we don't fund, or things that make life better that we don't fund? We don't have to fund this.
Absolutely, and every time in the media that there's a hospital closing or public layoffs or autism funding being cut or any just general a practice that is not being funded in OHIP gives us an opportunity to say, look, all these essential medical necessities are being neglected when a woman, no matter how old she is, no matter what stage of pregnancy she's at, can go in and get an abortion. In most every province in Canada, no questions asked, no matter how many times, and it's completely covered by our hard-earned tax dollars. So I think it is something that has traction.
Quite often in a private clinic as well, but you're hip there. I know you're in pain, but you're going to have to wait. Alyssa, good speaking to you as always. We'll chat soon.
Thank you, Brian.
Share your thoughts, facebook.com, punch in Byline or my name. You'll find us. Click the thumbs up. Then you can become part of the community.